Did you know Werewolf by Night is one of those characters that have different forms that be coming into conflict with one another, human form and werewolf form? These two forms are so powerful to the point where even if he's getting messed up real bad, even by his weakness like Silver, the standard supernatural, darker-ish type character weaknesses for vampires, werewolves, that kind of thing. It's not an end-all be-all, but it does hurt him very badly. But if crap goes the right way, he can actually heal from all these wounds and combine into an ultimate form, which fuses both. The two forms being split at first, them being united. Fusion of them both now achieved, they can become the ultimate werewolf of the ultimate and pretty much heal instantly from these wounds he had. Yeah, respectable, right? Werewolf by Night is one of the darker side type of characters that I never thought I would do a video about. But since he's going to be in live action, I said, why not? But how strong are we talking when it comes to this character? Believe it or not, he's one of those characters that's been around for a while. He has a human form and obviously a werewolf form, hence his name, Werewolf by Night, right? He has your standard abilities like super strength, agility, reflexes, stamina, and senses, all derived from his partly wolf-like supernatural form. He has claws and teeth that are really sharp when it comes to combat, and they say his reflexes are at least twice as fast as a human, and he can run over 35 miles per hour. Different handbooks over the years. You can see how his story is right here. The story begins with the ancient wolf god believed to be one of the elder spawn, the children of the elder gods, millions, possibly billions of years ago. The wolf demon spawned a race of wolf men and other races like bird women, harpies, batmen, flying fiends, demons, goblins, serpent men, spawn of the elder god Set, and Spider-Man spawn of some of these races enslaved the developing humans, but by the time 20,000 BC, most of the elder spawn had been slaughtered or driven into seclusion. The wolfmen could assume human form, and humans scratched or bitten by them became wolfmen in turn. They could survive most injuries, but vulnerable to silver and fire. But many of them died at the great cataclysm of 18,000 BC, and their ultimate fate is unknown. Yes, a lot of information about them here. It's only natural characters like this, due to all this information you can see for yourself, that he interacts with characters like Dracula. When it comes to his power grid, he's not like a Thor or Hulk tier when it comes to raw power in general. But you see how his power grid looks right here when it comes to his strength. Yeah, it's decent. Pretty consistent when it comes to his power grid, rating his strength of 4 out of 7. But yeah, even I don't take these as Bible, but they're good referencing points when it comes to his powers and abilities. And if we're talking about different states of mind, he's one of those characters that lack appearances, but lack of appearances doesn't mean you're weaker by any sense. That means you just don't have many opportunities to showcase your power, but it still doesn't really change your power level, honestly, especially if they have writer intent on their side. But how strong are we talking? I mean, when you got showings that are ridiculous like this, when Ghost Rider says he's endowed with supernatural stuff that rivals his own, maybe is he talking about just his raw strength or his blast power, etc.? Ghost Rider isn't really known for his physicals, but he's still ridiculously powerful, and his durability against the flame. One of the most impressive feats of all time, I would say, is fighting against Spider family members like Spider-Woman. I have a video about even going sleep time. So you telling me Burr got wins over Spider family members? Vampire tiers like Morbius, who's a confirmed Spider-Man tier, who has knocked out Spider-Man before. He's able to hold down Morbius. Right here, you got occasions like this against characters like Sabretooth, showing the physical strength to lift and toss cars. Solid stone statues, he can lift up and toss them. Does this to steal doors with his strikes. I'm not playing when I say bashing in. Of course, he's strong enough to tear off limbs with his raw strength. Withstood blunt attacks from Hulk. Another strike from Great Hulk. Even when being hit by his weakness is not an instant KO. Even after extra strikes from Wonder Man, a powerhouse tier, he finally goes down after all of this. But yeah, he does lose here. He's gotten interactions with Iron Man's repulsor blast. I'm talking about different eras of Iron Man. You got the Silver Centurion era he can withstand stuff from. One could say Spider-Man tier strength level beings like Dracula, or even way higher, one could argue. He takes attacks from. More reason to respect him. Him withstanding attacks from beings outside his weight class is still something cool to pay attention to, whether it be sorcery blast, monsters, or etc. He shall not be underestimated. He seems to have pretty good endurance. I mean, I already kind of proved that he's already in the Spider family level when it comes to physicals, being able to knock Spider family members out with physicals, but he can also keep up with their fighting speed. All the beings that can match Spider-Man, like even vampire tiers like Morbius, somebody has even KO'd Spider-Man, he can keep up with him too. Heck, even Dracula himself. Even the main Peter Parker Spider-Man himself. And even characters like Sabretooth. When it comes to raw speed or fighting speed in general, he can move like a blur. His fighting speed's even proven when he's up against concrete super soldier tiers like Moon Knight, he can avoid their attacks. Or superhuman beings like Gambit, he can dodge attacks from with agility and stuff. This isn't just coincidence, it's literally writer intent. Thanks to his senses, humans might as well be moving in slow motion in comparison to his speed. I mean, when something's this close to him, he moves with enough accuracy to where it doesn't hit him. It would be weird if you didn't have greater fighting speed when your senses are this good. Here they say his senses are a million times greater than a human. Characters like Moon Knight who are good at stealth thanks to his sixth sense. He can actually tell thanks to the wind shifting that Moon Knight was trying to use stealth on him, but he smelled him anyway. Thanks to his senses, he can track you from long distances, whether you're a vampire or Spider-Man himself. I mean, blunt, raw strength from your muscles themselves is one thing, but then when you add this physical strength with sharp edges like claws and stuff, that adds a whole new occasion, and Werewolf has this stuff on top of his strength to make his attacks even more deadly with piercing damage. One of his best showings of all time is being able to supposedly, with his sharp edges, able to pierce Grey Hulk's skin, apparently, to make him mad. But dang, that's still incredible, bro. It's more of one occasion of this, too, y'all. It could be one of those occasions like how Wolverine doesn't have the strength of Hulk-level beings, but thanks to these claws, they kind of ignore durability. One could say this is a similar situation for Werewolf by Night. He might not have the strength of a Hulk-level being with his muscles, but his claws are ridiculously unworldly supernatural or something, possibly, maybe. I mean, personally, that's the only way stuff like this would make sense. Unless they're trying to say he's a Hulk level being, which I doubt, with muscles. Not being much contradicting. I mean, they have shredded concrete and stuff like that. What truly makes him dangerous is his immortality. I mean, he kind of is truly immortal, being blown to pieces. And being able to regenerate. Stated he'll be fine. After bull crap like this, you know how zombies be biting and infecting people? Then after you get bitten, you become a zombie, and you can't really control your mind anymore? Tell me why his healing factor, Werewolf by Night's healing factor, that even being infected by Marvel zombies type stuff. So even if Jack is infected, but not the werewolf, respect Werewolf by Night being able to cure this type of stuff. When stuff nearly cuts him in half, whether it be zombies or etc., the next panel he seems pretty healed up. Even in extremely old panels, he can be damaged by bullets and etc., but his healing factor kind of makes that damage irrelevant. Rifles, pistols, and all that good stuff, he kind of heals too fast for it to make a real noticeable difference. Let's keep it high. You might as well not even try to shoot at him. Your best chance is silver bullets. It's almost to the point where, yeah, it's like a horror movie. Y'all just can't do nothing and just run. Even straight up shots like this, nope, those are not enough either. And one of the benefits of being a werewolf is being soulless. I mean, that means he's kind of resistant to soul manipulating type of stuff. Like soul attacks from Ghost Rider. Whether it be soul sucking kisses, that's what happens when you sell your soul a long time ago. He's a werewolf. Yeah, so don't even try soul manipulation type stuff. Since he lacks appearances, the best way to get an understanding of his power is to deeply dissect the battles he's been in to see how he stood up to the beings he fought. Other than him satisfying your supernatural or brutal itch of that such, when you look at his performances against named Marvel characters that we all have respect for and who also have ridiculous feats to prove their power, it can kind of give us as readers some writer intent on where they want him despite him lacking showing for the most part. I mean, we know one thing, he's already almost impossible to kill. I mean, how do you kill something that ain't got a soul? You know what I mean? And it can regenerate real crazy. I mean, not to mention he's even taken out other werewolf type beings that are similar to himself, so it lets you know where he ranges in hierarchy. He can beat other beings like himself to further prove his power. You got occasions like this, beings that are wearing power suit, he has to fight against all of this. It gives you more respect and perspective on what he has to take on. Not to mention when they're using like weaknesses against him and stuff. You respect him yet, still withstanding all of this type of damage. Yeah, of course, soul-sucking demons by one of the Hellords known as Satanish. More proof of his power. Super Soldier tiers, like Deadpool, he's implied to be above in raw strength, which makes perfect sense to the vampire lore type stuff he should be around in, right? I showed some of these panels earlier when it comes to Werewolf by Night. You got in this scan with Hawkeye, Tigra, Mockingbird. Tries to steal Tigra for himself. She does pretty well for herself, but gets blasted by Iron Man and stuff like I already showed. Even though Iron Man's in his Silver Centurion armor, but he pokes him in the eye. And this is the part I showed you with the silver arrow that hurt him pretty bad with Mockingbird. And this is why I showed you where they finally got the W on him. Hawkeye, everybody teaming up on him, and then Wonder Man does the finishing blows to finally make him sleepy though. Took a lot though. I ain't gonna be one of them people that try to wank a character. Yeah, he did get a victory on the Spider-Woman type character, but Spider-Woman has also got a KO on him as well. So yeah, they have traded victories. And then you got occasions of him fighting Tigra, another beastly type character, saying the outcome could never be decided. One could say Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight got in a war. Moon Knight has a lot of incredible weapons. So yeah, this fight wasn't easy, especially him having silver weapons against Werewolf by Night. His healing factor helped him. But yeah, he can actually take L's to beings in this tier, especially if the beings in the Super Soldier Rangers have gear, especially overpowered gear and things like that. Yeah, but he did lose this one, but it was a war. I showed a little bit of Gambit earlier about reacting to him, but Werewolf by Night can actually fight Gambit in a pretty high difficulty type of battle, keeping up with his fighting speed and all the goodies that should be expected, showing his speed. Like I showed earlier, then Moon Knight comes in the middle of the fight. Now it's like a three-way between Gambit, Werewolf by Night, and Moon Knight. Yeah, epicness incarnate. But this fight, unfortunately, didn't really get a true conclusion. Yeah, Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight honestly have to have a crossover in live action eventually because they just interact too much in comic books for them not to meet on the big screen eventually. I mean, they fought. They pretty much proven they can fight each other. I would argue Werewolf by Night has the strength advantage on Moon Knight, but Moon Knight's gear and other things make up for whatever he lacks in strength, like his weapons that are overpowered, like adamantium and stuff. Why would the writers put him up against characters like Dracula this much if he was just considered lightweight? But in this particular occasion, Dracula was thirsty, aka weaker. But regardless, you gotta respect him. But luckily, Dracula and Werewolf have fought when Dracula wasn't thirsty, and Werewolf by Night proves he can hold his weight anyway in raw strength. Go ahead and check out the Vampire Tears on the channel. When it comes to my Blade video, my Morbius video, watch them videos on top of this to really get an understanding of his power. And then you got an occasion like this with Dracula, where he does lose sometimes. You know, Dracula's a beast though. And then we got the times where he's taking on Wendigo, another ferocious type creature in Marvel. Respectable performance against a Wendigo. Probably one of his most impressive feats of all time, fighting a powerhouse tier like freaking Greyhold until the time of the day changes. The fight ends when the time of the day changes because, you know, back in these days, Grey Hulk had to change when they got, you know, a certain time. He's one of those characters, thanks to his immortality, it's kind of hard to knock him out. Like on this occasion, Hulk just slung him very far away on this occasion. But for the most part, everybody, that's just about going to do it. He's very strong. When it comes to the tier he's in, I definitely believe he's above super soldiers when it comes to raw power output. If we're not counting their gear and stuff, I don't think they'll be able to match him for too long. This type of stuff is proven when he faces superhuman mutants like Gambit in extremely long difficulty type of fights and stuff. The reason why you even see super soldiers be able to keep up with him is thanks to the super soldiers have incredible combat speed. But if they didn't have their overpowered gear like adamantium or vibranium, I don't think they'll be able to match him that well for too long. The fact that he can regenerate from having his head blown off and the fact that characters like the Hulk have issues knocking him out, I think it's clear he's physically up there with characters like Dracula. But when you add in like blast power and stuff, there Dracula's way above him. But physically, yeah, he's definitely in that Dracula. He's definitely in the Spider Family vampire-esque, Blade-esque strength range. Dracula is just an exception when it comes to just overall blast power, but physicals, he can hang with his muscles. But how strong do you think the Werewolf by Night is? Do you think he's above Spider Family members? I mean, I could see someone thinking that, but that could be just me. But what do you guys think? But I also got to give a quick shout out to those that have took the time to donate. It helps out a lot. Respect Werewolf by Night, though. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.